I'm like, I wonder why that person unfollowed me. I thought we were cool. And then I'm like, oh, well, I never made any effort to ever talk to that person. So I'm like, they're probably pissed about that. Hey guys, TazzyPhe here. How is it going? Welcome to this channel. If you guys are new here, are you new here? Welcome. Okay. If you're not new here and you've been here for a while and you're just old, happy birthday. Today's video is going to be another episode of the Let's Get Deep series where I just do these videos. I sit down, it's a topic, podcasty style. I just talk about some sort of life topic and my thoughts on them at this point in time. And for today's video, I decided that I wanted to do another video on friendship. Okay, specifically about like whether adult friendships are hard, just kind of diving into what it's like being an adult and navigating through friendship. So yeah, buckle up. Let's go. Let's get down for the ride. Let's get down tonight. I just want to start off by saying that I truly feel this way, okay? I feel like friendship is one of the biggest blessings in life. Like, I really, really feel like if you have good friends, you have good people around you, it just enriches your life. It just makes your life so much better. It lifts you up, okay? It makes you laugh. You have somebody to confide in. You have support, basically, is what you have. And if you think about it, any great relationship that you have, there's an element of friendship in it, right? Like if you have a great relationship with your mom or your dad, there's an element of friendship. If you have a good relationship with your sibling, there's like a friendship bond there as well. If you have a good relationship with your significant other, there's probably some level of friendship. So I feel like friendship is just everything. So the first point that I want to talk about is you have to make time, you have to find time, but you also have to be considerate. You see, time is so limited when you're an adult. Like, I rarely feel like I have hours and hours and hours to do whatever I want. Well, is that a lie? Kind of. When you become an adult, you just have a lot of things pulling you in so many different directions. And it feels like time just kind of just whoosh by. Like you can't get a grasp on time, no matter how good your time management is, especially if you have a job or like you have kids or whatever it is. It's like time escapes you. On top of that, life circumstances can impact the duration of a friendship. People move away. That's been one of the biggest things in my life personally of why I feel like I've gotten broken apart from my friends or why we spend less time or talk to each other less is because like someone gets married and leaves, or someone gets a job and leaves, or someone's going to school in another state and leaves. Like that's just part of it. Oh, and I forgot one big thing. People having kids. Yeah, that's another one because kids are just a time suck. Okay. They suck the time and the energy out of their parents in a good way. I'm not saying anything. We love children in a good way. But I do think that when you have a strong friendship with somebody, your friendship can withstand those changes. You might not just have periods of times where you don't talk that much or you're not that close. But like if you have that connection with somebody, you can always like rekindle that spark. I don't want to say always, but you probably can if your friendship is that strong. So I feel like when you become an adult, you have to make time. You have to make time. You have to find a time, even if it's just like a short little window. You have to find time and make people priority if they're important to you, if you want to maintain friendships. You know, you can't just use the excuse of life getting in the way because life gets in the way for everybody. You have to like make a little bit of effort. And I'm not saying that I do that with everybody. There's a lot of people that I would say like, I'm like, I wonder why that person unfollowed me. I thought we were cool. And then I'm like, oh, well, I never made any effort to ever talk to that person. So I'm like, they're probably pissed about that. That's fine. And I also have people like that too, where like, I'm like, you never put an effort. Maybe I should like block you, like take you off my follow and unfollow you because you're irritating me because you never cared about me and you never made an effort. Recently, I went to Colorado and I reconnected with one of my best friends, and I mean, it had been almost like 2-3 years that we have not actually like spent a good amount of time with each other. And it was so nice. I got to get to know her child and I got to know like what's going on in her life. And it was just really, 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 really nice. And so I feel like it's always worth it to figure out a way, make time for people regardless, because you will lose friendships or you will lose the connection with people if you don't at least try once in a while. That's my first point, is that it doesn't matter how hard it is. You won't be able to keep in touch with everybody. That's just life. But you should try. Like, don't use that excuse of busy. You have to make an effort. That doesn't mean like, oh, I'm going to call you every week at this time. No, just check in a once in a while, or like, you know, if you guys live in two different states, make the effort to go and see them at some point in time. I feel like those things are just really important to maintain friendships. And I also feel like sometimes like you're also nudged to make that effort and sometimes even have those deep conversations. Like for me, like I recently went on Umrah, right? And before I went on that trip, I was like, okay, there are some people that I have to like call and just like reach out to and talk to before I leave. Like I wanted to ask like them to forgive me if I've done anything. And I also wanted to see if there was like anything that they wanted me to specifically pray for or whatever. And actually I felt so good like connecting with all the people that I talk to, because even though I talk to some of the people maybe regularly, I never talk like on that deep of a level. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think sometimes life will just like also nudge you in a certain direction, and also sometimes life will nudge you in the opposite direction where you just kind of are like, all right, this friendship's not working out. Like I think we're just good. I also have a good friend of mine who moved away, and I haven't really hung out with her for like maybe like 1 or 2 years. And I'm like, it's on the forefront of my mind. It's in the back of my mind. It's in the front of mind. Like I have to go to Seattle. Have to go visit her. Like I just want to spend time with her. And we're like trying to work out like, you know, what time would be best, because both of us want to do it where we're both going to have fun. But yeah, like I just think it's, you know, important to make that effort. And I feel like you also can feel it. Like you can feel it when you need that. You can feel it when you're just like, man, I just like need some quality time with a friend. And I've seen that even like, not even just with people my age. For example, I took my mom with me to London like back in, what was that, 2018. It was like a trip for YouTube, and I took her with me, and she reconnected with like old friends from college, like from Pakistan, right? And my mom was having more fun than me on that trip. Okay, I'll tell you what, she was having the time of her life. And it was really nice to see her like that, because, you know, everybody, it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter what point in life you are. Like, I just feel like the time that you spend with a friend is just, there's no price on that. And especially if it's like a good friend of yours, you know, like someone who makes you feel good and that you have a good time with. I think that also matters. Now, on the flip side of it, okay, we talked about making time for people. I'm going to be honest with you. As I have grown older, and time has become an issue, I've just come to a point where I can't do the selfishness anymore. Like I can't, dude. All right, let's say like I made time to like see someone, right? And it's based on the convenience of that person. And then that person does not care, like if you have anything to do. They're like, oh, like my stuff is good. I don't really care what you have to do. Anyway, you know, and I can't stand like selfishness. I cannot do it, especially when you become an adult. I feel like in that moment, I kind of realized like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this again. Like, I don't think I'm going to, go out of my way to spend time or like do something with this particular person just because it's not worth it to me. I don't know. Sometimes in your life, there are people who it's like, you kind of feel like you only provide them something, and it's not like every relationship has to be transactional, but sometimes with some friends it feels like you're just there for them and their problems. But like when you're going through something, or if you have something to do, like they don't really care. You know what I mean? I just can't do that anymore. I'm sorry. I just can't. And so like I think I've also come to terms with like I'm okay if some friendships fizzle out, and I probably feel better about it because it's like, well, it's on my terms because I feel that way. But yeah, I think that's something that, I don't know, I'm just over. But going off of that point, I also feel like as an adult, what happens is like, okay, so you guys were in a school environment or you were in this environment, so you had this in common. And then when you like move and you move on with your life, your guys' lives change so much. You may be in two completely different cultures or cities that have like totally different lifestyles. You may be in two different completely industries. You may also like just start to notice that you guys value different things just based on your lives. Also like socioeconomic status. That's one thing that I've noticed. It starts to create a divide like as you get older. And I mean, if you have really, really good friends, like your best friends, your childhood friends, like those things don't really matter as much, although they might. But I feel like you've kind of really developed that bond where you're kind of already like sisters, so it doesn't matter. But I've noticed that there are sometimes like I don't like being around people who maybe like are in a different socioeconomic status and they don't really like realize that what they say is kind of like offensive. Maybe I've done that too, so I'm not saying like, you know, it's just other people. But what happens when you become an adult is that you kind of just go in different directions, and it's not even like on purpose. It just happens and you guys lose touch out of each other's realities. And so someone might say something like, I only make this amount of money. Like, I'm so poor. And I'm like, no, you're not, but okay. Or like, I didn't do all this so that I can just make X amount of money. And I'm like, okay, that's how much I make. So, like you're going to find yourself in those kind of situations too. Sometimes it's nobody's fault is what I'm trying to say. Is sometimes the adult friendships just fizzle out or get destroyed or get pulled apart just because like your lives are just too different and you don't have anything in common. And maybe that bond that you had before was just not strong enough to withstand all of that. And this is also like a note to myself. I think that you should really be careful when you talk about things like salaries or money. Like you should be careful about what you say, especially if like people are not in the same like level as you. Like you should be careful not to say like things like that because it doesn't make the other person feel good. It really doesn't. But you may not notice that. So going off of that, I think it's okay to let go. I think as you become an adult, it's okay to let go of certain friendships. It's okay. And it's not even sometimes something that you're doing actively. It's just a passive thing. You can do all of that also without any hard feelings. Well, I mean, sometimes people have hard feelings because they don't really understand. Now, moving on to the next point. This is a hard one because I'm going to choose my words carefully. But I feel like we talked about a certain type of selfish, right? The selfish where like, I only care about my time and my convenience and I don't really care about other people. That's one thing. The other thing is a selfishness of only wanting to be around your friends when they're happy and good. If you want friendships that withstand, the test of time, you have to also be there for people when they're in a bad place. Does that mean that you have to be pulled into toxic situations or their toxicity? No, you can create boundaries. But if you think that, I'm only going to be there for this person, or I'm only going to message this person in good times, I'm only going to like congratulate them on their marriage, No, I had people like that who just out of the blue, I'm so happy for you, blah, blah. I'm like, thank you. But like, you have not talked to me in a long time. And I don't know why you're so happy for me when you never met up with me for like years when I was going through like really difficult stuff. Sorry if that's petty, but I kind of feel like sometimes it's like you can't just want to be there for the good stuff. If you want a friendship or like a deep friendship with somebody, you got to also be there when they go through tough times. So I can understand why like you wouldn't want to be around somebody when they're in a bad place. Like for me personally, when I see somebody that I love, like not doing very well or like really, really emotionally distraught, or like you can see something that they can't see in terms of like why there's like this dark cloud over them and maybe they think that they're putting on a facade or whatever it is. It's very, very painful to see people that you care about in a bad place. And for me, sometimes it's so painful that I'm like, it's not that I don't want to be around that person. It's just like, it hurts me so much that I have a hard time. It gives me anxiety. It makes me feel like helpless. But I feel like that just reflects on me more than the other person. Like I feel like that means that there's something that's triggering in me that I haven't processed or dealt with, where I can't really show up for that person the way I want to, or like I'm making it about me and it's not about me. So there are situations like that as well. But I feel like with a good friend or with somebody that you care about, you still push through that. You still check on them. You still talk to them. You still do it, okay? You still do it. Now, the next part of the video, and I think like for the remainder of the video, I'm going to talk about like making friends as an adult, which I have like not zero practice with, but I really have not made a conscious effort to do that at all. And part of it is because like I like to do this in my free time and this requires a lot of free time. I feel like I haven't like really invested time in like making new friends since I've moved. I'm okay with that, but I know that's going to bite me later. I found these articles and the numbers vary. So I would say it's between like 40 and 60 that I keep seeing, but it says that it takes students 43 hours and adults 94 hours to turn acquaintances into casual friends. And student needs 57 hours to transition from casual friends to friends. Adult need on average 164 hours. So do that divided by 24. I don't know how many days that is. But it says for students, friends became best friends after about 119 hours. Adult need an additional 100 hours to make that happen. So as you get older, like these studies basically show that it's not a made up thing. Like it's true. It is harder to develop bonds or friendships as an adult and like become really close with people. That's a lot of hours. Think about it. If you're talking about like a 2-hour session with a person, you'd have to see them 60 times before you become like best friends. And I mean, I've seen it happen. Like, I have hope about it because I can see even my parents, even at different ages in their life, they make really close friends. But I did notice something. It's tricky though sometimes when you come from a certain culture though. And I feel this way. I feel like I'm kind of closed off because I grew up in like this concept of community, right? So like Muslim community and Desi community. And it feels like everybody knows everything about everybody, even if you don't think that everybody knows everything about you, they actually do. Like the most random things that I know about people that I should not know, not because I asked, just because people are like this. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And so I feel like that has kind of deflected me from like, I don't want to get to know people. Like, I feel like I've been enjoying my anonymity here. I don't want to get close to people. And that's, again, this is like maybe just a very personal problem of mine, that I don't like opening up. I don't like talking to people that I don't know very well. Even on the internet, like I'm talking about this, but I don't really like consider this opening up. This is like, whatever. We're just scratching the surface, right? But yeah, I don't trust people very easily because I think I'm smarter than I am. Like when someone asks me a question, I'm like, you think you're smart asking me that question, huh? Like they'll be like casually ask me a very like personal question that I'm like, you're digging for information. And I'm like, no, I'm not answering that. But then like, because you don't answer that, or because you don't like open up about anything, no one can ever get close to you, and then you're lonely, right? Oh, so sad. But it's true though. You know what? That's something I want to make dua for. I really want to make some really good friends. I really do. I have amazing friends. I have amazing friends from my childhood. I have amazing friends in Colorado. But as an adult, I really want to make some like really close, great friends. You know what would be even better? If I made them with people who like to do this kind of stuff. Like imagine if I became successful in like this creative stuff and then became really good friends. That would be amazing. I would love that. Just throwing that out there so that maybe it happens. In order to make friends as an adult, you have to put yourself out there and you have to take that risk. And I'm just not there yet. I'm not there willing to take that risk, you know, because you might have some flops. Like when you see people who do put themselves out there, they also attract some like really weird people too. Like sometimes you'll be trying to make friends and you're like, okay, this is not working out. It's like, you know how they show like dating, right? You have some weird things. You got to kiss some frogs to get to the prince, right? It gets more complicated though when you're a couple. It becomes more complicated because it depends. Are you trying to look for couple friends? Ooh, that is hard, because maybe the guys get on really well, but the girls, or vice versa, like maybe the girls get on really well, but the guys have like no. It's so complicated. The other part of it is like humans want safety, right? And for me, I'm like, I enjoy a drama-free life. I really do. I'm like, I enjoy a quiet life. If that means I have to be lonely, I'll be lonely. But that's not good. That's self-isolation. That is a defense mechanism. That is an unhealed part of myself that I need to fix. Do I need to fix it? I don't know. You know, yeah, you got to take risks because it just gets more and more lonely. And I want to be like old with friends. You know what I mean? I want to be old and have some good friends. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Anyway, those are my thoughts on adult friendships, whether I think adult friendships are hard, why I think they're hard, and whether I think that it's possible to overcome the difficulties of them. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I don't know if I said anything new. I think I did from the last episode, but I'd love to know your guys' thoughts below. You know, maybe some of you guys out there have already gone through this process. Maybe you guys have advice for others. Maybe you have advice for other people, for me. So let me know. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you guys say. I love you guys. Oh my God. TazzyPhe. Oh, bye. Oh, here we go again. You say, I want your freedom. Bye-bye.